recovery management training of 27 modules set out to package recovery managers of no mean pedigree. Management training of 27. So who is bailing the cat for us? Set out to package recovery managers of no mean pedigree. So the floor is open this morning, welcoming everyone to the show. It's Global Recovery Management Training, Day 2, on processes, procedures, and what it entails to be a recovery manager. Yesterday, we saw the place of personal policy statement. And we said it's so critical that we don't just go to the field doing recovery without personal policy statement. Recovery manager Tony, did you share with us your own personal policy? You must have been muted. Can you hear me? Is everybody hearing me?
Yes, I
Is somebody okay? Others are not hearing me. Tony, can you hear me? Kemi, can you hear me? Olabisi Oni, can you hear me? They can't hear me. And I am not muted here. Hello?
I can hear you, doctor.
Who can hear me? Who cannot hear me?
I can hear you.
Only one person is hearing me.
No, I also mentioned that I can hear you.
So here we go. Can you hear me?
Yes, doctor.
Yes, I can.
How about now? Can you hear me better? Hello?
Yes, doctor. Can hear
Yes,
you.
I can.
Yeah.
Okay. Professor Mary Yeye, good morning, ma'am. Good to hear your voice and to know that you are in the house. I hope you can hear me. So we emphasize the need for mission statement, where you are keep on ground running the cause for which you've been so passionate and that you believe in, and principle in the field, and the reason why practice. And we did class today in the good and the ugly trend for which as a recovery manager, you have answers for them all. We need the competence clause. We need the compassion clause and quotient to be able to engage meaningfully in the field of practice. So as a recovery manager, it is quite expedient that we begin from where we need to begin, combing our client inside and outside. Professor Mary Yeye, good to see your face. Good morning, ma. I guess you are muted. Okay. Good. The network is back. So we're right here. We're doing this in collaboration with our partner, National Drug Law Enforcement Agency. We are covering relapses in high and low places. We're saying, hey, let's stem the rate of drug demands. Let's stem it down, which is called drug demand reduction. And one of the emphases of NDLEA in drug demand reduction is the art and science of relapse management. So today being the second day, we are looking at behavioral diagnostics for recovery managers. How do we diagnose a case before us? To those of us who were present yesterday, you bear me witness that we started in skirmishes yesterday about diagnosis, because I showed you how to comb your client. What are the combing questions you need to ask in order to invade into them? In therapy, we do behavioral invasion. If our client must not go through inclusion before us, we need to be able to do invasion while with them. What is behavioral inclusion? Series of issues and tissues within a client in addiction that has not found expression on his outside, that have gone within him to build an ecosystem where he daily transacts, different from the reality on his outside. When a client implode, we call them client. We don't want to say addict or inmate or victim. No. Behind every victim, addiction, and one in the repository or wherever, incarceration, is the good man. So we look at them from their good side. So we do behavioral invasion. And I'd like to let you know, recovery managers in the house, that there are certain questions, prompting questions you can ask your clients that will enable you to do behavioral invasion, to be able to gain access. The reason why we do invasion is to gain access into their mind just by questioning. So questioning the right order is a therapy. It's very therapeutic. When you ask the right question for the right reason at the right time, it's therapy. So in behavioral invasion, you explore 3E model by asking charming questions around the critical subject matter of your client. Oh, they told you this boy is into addiction and all that. Okay, so let's go to addiction. You have identified it, idea model. Okay, what kind of addiction is this? Definition. Then from there you do evaluation, and from there you do application. We are used to idea model here. Anything that comes to you and you want to fix it, to do behavioral invasion, idea model. Identification of the issue at hand. 2, definition of the precise thing. How do you define it? The length and breadth, the good, the bad, and the ugly side of it. Then letter E, evaluation. What trouble has it caused? What situation? What embarrassment? What are the multivariate implications? When you put the I to D to E, you will be able to do the A, application of therapy. And how do you apply? That's why we are teaching you here, training you here to know what obtains best global practices. When we give you the ocean here, then you can know which side of the ocean to dive in as you administer therapy, as you deliver solution. So diagnosis is critical. Certain questions you can ask. refer to yesterday's class that will help you do diagnosis without tools, which to us in behavioral science are still tools, but to what? Tools. What do I call them? Are people hearing me here? Oh, I'm speaking to myself.
I can hear you, doctor.
Hello?
Can hear you.
Am I being heard?
I can hear you.
You heard
Yes,
everything
doctor.
I said. Okay.
Yes, I did.
Okay. Okay. So today's course is behavioral diagnostics for recovery managers. So what does behavioral diagnostics means? It is the systematic process of understanding a person's behavior, thought, emotions, triggers, patterns, strength, risk, and environmental influences in order to determine the appropriate recovery needs. I say it again. Behavioral diagnostics for recovery managers is a systematic process. It's systemic. And once you have the system in your hand, you can strike it to work. And what systemic process of understanding a person's behavior, thoughts, emotions, triggers, patterns, strength, risk, and environmental influences in order to determine appropriate recovery needs. So what are the issues here? Internal ecosystem and collaborating external environment. When you are able to route these two in your client, you are doing diagnosis. You invade inside. How does he think? How does he feel? What is his emotion? Painting. What are the risks? What patterns? What are his triggers? What are the associated risk factors? What is the behavior so far, before, on, and after? What are the trends? And then, what are the issues around him? The environment, external. And you know, every environment begins from the family setup, from the home, from the house. What are his igniters? So questioning is an acceptable format of diagnosis. I remember a woman, a pastor, brought his son. And while I was trying to book the case preliminarily, and I said, we're going to run diagnosis and run analysis and all of that. In our own testimony, after that, the boy was okay, no more doing drugs. This is a boy who would remove anything in the house to go and sell, just to do drugs, and became a dealer in drugs. Under 2 weeks, the boy became free through our procedure. So the mama came in and said, doctor, do you know the day you told me you are going to run diagnosis and all that? I checked everywhere. I was looking for heavy equipment and machines where you will just put the head of my boy and press one button. I said, no. The way we do it here is unique. We do behavioral invasion. our machines are intelligible framework analysis that gives us access into the people themselves so that we can go straight and head on to what we are looking for. And that's why we get the process by which we carry out our own diagnosis management system is a unique one that anybody can get who is passionate about recovery, who is passionate about addiction cases. The mama said, "Doctor, when you told me, I thought there are heavy machines here. Well, you just brought out paper, document, and all that." I said, well, the bottom line is that we're able to route your boy from the inside to the outside. He saw issues himself and made up his mind to change. As we expunged through intellectual proficiency the residues of drugs on the inside of him. Now, let me tell you a secret most of you here perhaps don't know about recovery management and diagnosis. Every behavior, whether adaptive or maladaptive, holds so strong on an individual's emotion. Every behavior. And once you can route an individual's emotion and you confront emotion, you are likely going to get fast results. Because emotion as an energy combines every other energy together and give you for a manifestation. You want to talk about physical energy? You see it through the emotional vibes. You want to talk about mental energy? You see it through emotional vibes. You want to talk about spiritual energy? You still see it through what? Emotional vibes. So emotion is your energy in motion, either in soft or hard form. And three things it does shows: it interacts, it interfaces, and it intervenes. Anytime you are doing interaction, that is an emotional flow. It can be on the good, on the bad, or the ugly. It's interaction. Love, kindness, and all of that, they are emotional realities on the good side of it. Anger is an emotion. Bitterness, rage, swearing is an emotion that flows with conversation. Stealing, an emotion that flows with what? The mind and the body and the hand. So what we do in Cyber Resources and Global Recovery Management System Hub in diagnosis is to go for the individual's emotion. Where we target people's emotion. Is it the good? Is it the bad? Is it the ugly? Where is the direction of emotion? Where is the pattern of the emotion? Those are the things we look for and we look at. So instead of wasting your time doing some other things, an emotion that is arrested is an individual under your charge. Now, look at scripture, for example, in Matthew 9:36. The Bible says Jesus saw the multitude scattered abroad like sheep without shepherd, and he had compassion on them. He saw, that's interaction, sheep without shepherd, scattered, interface. He had compassion on them, intervention. So there was an outflow from him based on the interaction he did with nature and people, and got a response back. They were like sheep without shepherd. That's interface. And then what came out of Jesus was an intervention in the form of a soft energy called what? Compassion. So compassion is an emotional energy coming out of you to solve problems, to meet people at their level and engage with them. So, in cyber resources, global recovery management, we engage with people from the inside to the outside. Don't just look at physical only. Start from intellectual. Start from introspective. And these are issues of the within, not outward. What are his thoughts, his feelings, his emotions, the pattern, the triggers, the associated risk factors? Then we're looking at other issues there in the surrounding. Question number 2 today. What is baseline assessment for a recovery manager, and why do we need it? A baseline assessment establishes the person's current behavioral, emotional, social, physical, and functional condition before recovery intervention begins. When you come to a place, a position as a recovery manager where you can say, yes, I got the fact that I need about this guy. It's just out of detox. This is his current situation. I got it. Through questioning. And like I told you, don't do quackery by not writing down, because all these things, you need to put them down to be able to articulate them and understand the behavioral pattern. So a baseline assessment is that which establishes the person's current behavioral, emotional, social, physical, and functional condition. They can ask you as an expert, Madam, what is your baseline assessment? Well, you would then reply, maybe as you report. Well, from my baseline assessment, his emotion is unstable. His feelings are not totally okay. Physically, he appears weak. And you see how I'm talking. Emotionally, he is unstable. Socially, he is withdrawing, isolating from people. And functionally, is generally cold and developing apathy towards things he ordinarily loves. Behaviorally speaking, where is cooperating with people 50%, and his attitude were fair. It means you now know what you want to settle for. You now know what you want to do. So simple questioning around those areas will tell you where the elements of his energies are collocated. Because life to a client is the summation of everything happening within him and around him, given his emotional quality and context. So very vital. Those display will show you what is inside it, because out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. And a man will not do anything without thinking of it first. So these are the various issues we are talking about. Establish a baseline assessment. Somebody is taking drugs and you just sit down and do counseling. It won't do the work. Dig into why he's taking drugs, when, where, how. Check for your 5W and 2H. What, why, when, where, who is involved. How did they begin? How is he doing it now? Then what are the harvest it has brought him so far? Anything good there? Never. What are the bad issues there? Very vital. Then, where is the place of behavioral history?
Is it my network? Doctor, we can't hear you again. Oh.
Not only you, Mao.
Pardon? Hello? What did you say, recovery manager Toyin?
We cannot hear you, sir. The thing just went
Okay.
off.
Sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. Very well.
Good. What was the last thing you heard me say?
Place of behavioral history.
Yes. So let's go there now.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
What is the behavioral history? You need to know. Behavioral history examines past behavior, habits, experience, relationship, substance use pattern, previous intervention, relapses, and major events that may have influenced the person's present condition. How will you say you are doing intervention when you don't know how he came into where you are meeting him now? So take behavioral history. Baseline assessment tells you everything. Why behavioral history takes you to the past. It's an aligned thing where you are able to see where he's coming from to how he got here, so that you can be on the same page with the client. That's why you will see our form, our admission form in Cyber Resources. We put all those things there. Oh, how did this boy got into this? What are the past things? When he was okay, what is his SWOT analysis? Strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Now that he's in this position, what are we seeing? Because drugs are contaminants to normal lifestyle protocol. Drugs are agents of pollution that will cause not only distraction, but a distortion on the inside of the client. And then whatever you are seeing now is not the original person. I've seen parents who will sob in tears and say, hey, see my son. Do you know, doctor? The boy that cannot look at my eyes 2 times will look me in the eyes and even threaten to slap me, my own son. So we see them now to say, Mama, that's not your son. Your son, that's the ecosystem he finds himself on the inside. That's the manipulation through drug and substance abuse. So parents wonder, and they see every behavior as being still their son. No. And that's why as therapists and as recovery managers, you need to carry them along to say, hey, Mama, Uncle, as soon as this boy deviates, he embraces some attitude and behavior that are not part and parcel of his original person. So don't think what you are seeing now is your son. No. Some behavior came in because he has left his original identity and veered off course. So of course, that trough created between original and counterfeit will be filled by something else. And whatever fills a man speaks to him, guides him, coordinates him, especially when it is tending towards an addiction. So tell parents, that's not your boy, that's not your daughter. It's a violation within. Where you see cases of violence outside is because violation has built in inside. So I need you to get that one. So a behavioral history examines past behavior, habits, experiences, relationship, substance use pattern, previous intervention, relapses, and major events that may have influenced the person's present condition. So find out, has he been treated before? Where and how? What were the deductions? What were the issues? We need to know all that. That's behavioral history. Take it, write it down. You are a quack when you are nodding your head, when you are asking questions and you are not writing down. That's quackery. Write down. Okay, it was in this rehab for so number of months. and then he left for that. He was treated for this and that. Why are you asking this? Usually in psychosocial health, they don't give you, what is it called now, file. To say, okay, the last person that treated, the last clinic or the last therapeutic place or rehab that treated, this is the case file. No, they just release the boy to go home. And block. Go home, you are okay. And nobody hears anything. Just say your boy is good to go. Everything is in secrecy. In global recovery management system, we will change that by the grace of God to making sure that what comes around goes around. That a recovery manager in Lagos will be able to call Abuja to say, so guy is here with me. Please, can I have his case file? His last treatment was in Abuja at so and so rehab center. That's where we are going. That's why we are called Global Recovery Management System. Not that the boy is okay, just go. Behave well, oh. John, behave well, oh. Nothing like that. So, number 4, trigger identification. What is trigger identification and recovery management? Trigger identification involves finding the situations, people, places, thoughts, emotion, or experiences that increase the likelihood of problematic behavior or relapse. Identify the triggers. Who are the people? The places he goes, the kind of thoughts he thinks, his emotion or experiences that increases that problematic behavior. The likelihood of that problem coming up is a trigger. For example, he has bad friends that still smoke. He goes into their midst, that's a trigger. It can provoke the likelihood of that behavior, can bring him down. Places, people, old friends, thoughts, emotions. It says, well, actually, when I start thinking like this, so as a therapist, that's a trigger. So what do you do to triggers? You identify it, define it, evaluate it, and administer the right therapy. Idea model. Identify it, define it, evaluate the effect on your client, and then these 3 will give you your A. You'll be able to say, okay, with this and this and that. Let me clean this boy first, and then substitute that vacuum, fill that vacuum with the right stuff. If it has been tail, get it out, the rumbles in that tail, reinforcing the tail, and then getting the right stuff. This is where, when I read bad books, I watch porn and all of that, I find myself taking drugs. So what do? You take your analysis, you look at your behavioral history, do your baseline assessment, and then cast your idea model on porn. Identify the issue, porn, define it. What is the bad side of it and all of that? There's nothing good in it and all of that. And then relate it with the individual. What is the effect on him and the rest? Do your evaluation by drawing a T-table. Good, bad. Oh yeah, outline for me. What are the goodies in there? What are the bad things? Usually when they do that for me, they will now see that maybe one good, then 15 bad. And I will now say, can you see? So will you, because of this one thing, go down the drain like this? They'll say, never, I don't want again. Because the bad side of evaluation is weighing so much. Tell them to write it down. Or you say, yeah, let's list it. That costs you so and so, sleeplessness, pain, trigger, you go into drugs again, you only enjoy 3 minutes, the fun, but see what it costs you. By the time you draw it like that, you know what you are doing? You are working on their emotion. You are rediverting their emotion and making their will to accept a change. I hope people are getting me. Because where there's no understanding why something is bad, they won't change. Their mind will not be made up for change. So in therapy, behavioral history, and trigger identification gives you room to be able to make changes happen so that you can bring the individual back to his original person. It's only recovery manager Stella that is understanding me. She wrote, others don't understand. So these things, they may look simple on the face, and they are very simple when you know what to do. You won't have one size fit it all. You just take your time, and before you know, you get result. We said bad deposit is somewhere, and you now know the room where those deposits are. You open it up, push those things out, and push the right thing inside. The person will be okay on the outside. So identify triggers. And then the fifth thing is emotional patterns. What are emotional patterns? They are repeated ways a person experiences, expresses, manages, or reacts to emotions, such as anger, fear, sadness, shame, anxiety, excitement, or frustration. How do they react to such emotion? Can show you the pattern. Pattern is an established repeated ways of a person's behavior. So emotional pattern will show you how he reacts to emotions. When you confront him, do you see outburst? What about sadness, excitement, or frustration? How does he react in these dicey situations? Can tell you. Why are we doing this? We are doing diagnosis. So diagnosis is far more than just instrument, physical. To say, oh yeah, put it on his chest, stethoscope, put it on his brain. It's more than that in therapy and for a recovery manager. So look at his emotional patterns. His response to fear, sadness, shame, anxiety, excitement, or frustration. Through what? Questioning. You say, doctor, I'm not there. How do I understand this fear? Ask fearful question. I'm not there. When he's angry, how do I know he's angry? His disposition towards anger. Ask him question around that space. How do you handle anger? What makes you angry? You find yourself angry most occasions? What brings out your other side? And then you say, for how long? What's the trend? When you start asking questions like this, you are invading into a pattern of behavior. Is it all the time? Or just occasionally? Say, well, doctor, I don't really get angry. Oh, just once in a blue moon. He says, and he tells you, anger. Anger is just my second nature. Oh. If you handle so and so, they can even glamorize it too and think it's a good thing. You too don't show it as if it's bad. Take your note down. Don't say, but anger is bad though, my brother. You are a pastor. Go and open church. Leave this work. But you note down and establish your baseline assessment, your behavioral history, your trigger identification. Why are you doing all this? So that at the end of the day, you can put every of these bits where they belong. And the boy will be okay. So that's the emotional pattern. Find out. You now see why when we handle non-psychotic case, we get answers. What are non-psychotic patients or case? Somebody who is still coordinating himself. Is not out of his senses. He can hear you, understand you, reason with you, and answer you right. Even though he has bad habits, even though he's into addiction. It's different from somebody who will suddenly get up to want to spank you. Somebody in the right sense, in his right senses, will not do that. Or will just talk anyhow, or smile alone to himself, or soliloquy. That person is tending towards psychotic disorder. So you can handle that person. We refer that cases. Somebody looking at you and grinning at you and smiling, or making a statement that is uncoordinated, uncorrelated. That's not your work. Take him to the rehab, to the psychiatry first. Let them get him stabilized and sober, so that he becomes aware of his condition first and get treated, detoxified. And afterwards, when he's due to go home, your work begins to put his behavior in perspective and to recover him of his original identity that will lead to you establishing his authority in terms of his strengths, talents, and giftings, that his productivity can eventually come out. That is your work as a recovery manager. You are not to handle somebody who is mad. Please, it's not your work, because he can do anything to you based on the behavior he has adopted, which is not his original person. So anybody who cannot manage his original identity and tending towards coordinated applause is not your client. Those are cognitive patterns. recurring ways a person thinks, interprets situations, makes decisions, solve problems, and explain their experiences. Try to establish it. You see, Christians, at times, they pray over patterns. And most time, what we talk about, when we talk about pattern, are just spiritual only. It's part of it, but that's not all. Say there's a pattern in the family. They don't marry on time. There's a pattern in that family. They die young. There's a pattern in that person. Nobody looks at what happens in the mind, in the brain, how he does things, how he makes his choices. They are very vital. Find out, are there cognitive patterns that must be broken, invaded into, readdressed? Then, what are social functioning? Remember, we are doing diagnosis. Diagnosis is not just about bringing out physical tools. Our work in recovery management is mainly mind and emotion thing that will guide them to do via their body. So it's not really about holding one tool physical. It's intellectual. And that's why we are telling you the intellectual gamut that goes around it, so that you can be an expert in the subject area. So what is social functioning? It examines how the person communicates, relates to others, maintain relationship, handles conflict, and participates in family, work, community, and social activities. These are issues having to do with relationships and responsibilities. Check it. Can show you the downturn of addictive behavior. Why are you checking this? You are doing diagnosis. Then you check the family environment. Is it coordinating well? Family environment, examine the relationship, communication, support, conflict, expectation, boundary, conditions within the family that may influence recovery. Find out. What's the family environment? Is he enabling the boy to do more addiction? Is he helping him to be his better version? Find out. It's part of diagnosis for a recovery manager to work on. Is it supportive? Is the communication there or helping him to become his better version? Where they are not, it's your work as a recovery manager to put things in perspective. Establish a baseline communication in that family and help them to make a straight path for their strengths and vulnerabilities. Are also strength. The abilities, resources, positive relationship, somehow, something must be working for him. Many things may not be working, but there are things working. What are the values, skills? What are the protective factors that support recovery. These are the area of strength. We're looking at ability, his resources, even his gift and talents. We're looking at his skills. We're looking at positive relationship around him. These are factors that support recovery. Why vulnerabilities are weaknesses or conditions that may increase the risk of relapse or behavioral difficulties. They are weaknesses. So where you get the strength, also get the weaknesses. That's why in our booking form in Cyber Resources and Global Recovery Management System, we have a column for strength and also column for weaknesses. We need to know so that we can do SWOT analysis later by converting the threat to opportunities and weaknesses to strength, given what we know and do. That is what you get about strength and vulnerabilities. So how about risk profiling? What do you do when you profile risk of a client? Risk profiling is the process of identifying and assessing factors. For example, harmful behavior, poor recovery outcomes, or other risks, so that appropriate preventive measures can be developed. We call it associated risk factors. You are trying to identify and assess factors that may increase the likelihood of that relapse, of that human behavior, or that will bring about bad recovery outcomes. You are working, but you are not seeing the effect on your client just because of some associated risk factor. As soon as you go, that thing poses a risk to him and he finds himself down. I remember in those days in Ibadan, while I pastored there, we went to a broad church to minister the gospel, and we led them to Christ. At the end of the day, they say, yes, you have helped us. We don't want to stay here, but we don't have anywhere to go. We don't have a home. We don't have families. We are just here to do this business. So that was a risk factor. We couldn't help them because we were just Sorry for the break in transmission. It's network. So this morning I have shown you 10 things you do in diagnosis, and I've explained them. Behavioral diagnosis, yeah. You do it. Which we have shared today. Number one, I have defined it for you, what behavioral diagnostics means. How to tap into people inside out. I've also told you baseline assessment, what it means. Getting all your facts and figures and data down through invasion model. 3, behavioral history. Once you are finding out about the past, the good, the bad, and the ugly, what the person has gone through, you are taking behavioral history. Then trigger identification, issues and things that increases the likelihood of that problematic behavior or relapse. Emotional pattern, because emotion draw all its energy for either behavior, good behavior, adaptive, or bad behavior, maladaptive. Then, cognitive patterns. Are there patterns in his mind that reinforces this bad behavior? We need to know it and break it. Social functioning, is he interacting well with his parents, peers, siblings, spouse, children? Then family environment, is it enabling or otherwise? Are there things that will even trigger him there? Then you look at his strengths and vulnerabilities. Where is he weak? Where is he strong? How can you help him to be stronger? And where is weak? How can you help him to turn the case around? And then lastly is the risk profiling, so that you don't solve a problem and still leave him inside contamination, or watch him handling contamination around. So take your assignment. It's a practical one. Develop a client behavioral profile. Hello, are you hearing me? Did I lose you?
Yes, doctor. No, I'm there.
Okay. Can you hear me? Now, let's do this together. It might be difficult a bit for everybody. Let's do practical. How to develop a client's behavioral profile. Structure summary of the client's behavior and cognitive patterns, triggers, social and family environment, strength, vulnerabilities, and protective factors. Now, number 1 to 10 is called behavioral profile. The summation of all these aggregates When you're able to put them all together in one spot, you have taken behavioral profile. So in behavioral diagnosis, you take behavioral profile of a particular case. So a simple behavioral profile should identify the following. 1, client's current condition. What is happening now? Tell us. 2, behavioral history. What has happened before? Tell us. Is behavioral profile. Then 3, major behaviors. What behavior needs attention now? And that's how I handle addiction cases. When I run my own baseline assessment, I will now say, see, I'm starting with this one. They are heavy. Oh, they said the boy is also talking suicide. I handle suicide first before I talk about addiction. So major behaviors, get to know it. Then another one, find out the triggers. What causes or increases the behavior? Find it out. Because as long as he's around that thing, he will always do the bad behavior. Then find out the emotional patterns. How does this client respond emotionally when you're asking questions? Does he frown at you? Is he cooperative? Is he sober? Or living in denial? Find out. Then cognitive patterns. How does the client think and make decisions? If he's always telling you, I will think about it. Let me go home and think about it. I don't have immediate answer now. We'll think about it. You can see pattern there, and you can see that this guy needs a thorough evaluation. So check his cognitive client relate with others. See withdrawing or whatever. What family factors affect the client? Check it. Then check his strengths. What can support recovery that he already has? Is his strength. Then check his vulnerabilities. What can weaken recovery? Then check his risk level. What likelihood of relapse or other harmful outcomes? Then check his protective factors in form of people, skills, beliefs, structures, or environment. Those are his protective factors. Don't throw away the baby. In recovery management, we don't throw away the baby with the bathwater. That is bad, does not mean it's 100% bad. Good statement that eventually saved him. His work condemned him, but the Savior saved him because there was still something good within him. So those are called protective factors. Then check for recovery needs. What are the recovery needs? What intervention, support, monitoring, training, or referral is required? Check it. How will you know his recovery needs? So obvious. If you have gone through step 1 to 9 and you have fact, answer will just come to you direct. This is just by looking at the opposite of all those critical issues on ground. What is the good that is opposite it? That we are going to engage, create, and install for him. Check the recovery goal. What specific behavioral challenge should the client achieve? Draw a goal. Okay, I want at the end of the day to be self-employed, to stand on his own. Check it. Then lastly is follow-up plan. How will progress be monitored and reviewed? Very vital. So this is today's class. Diagnosis. Behavioral diagnosis is critical to effective recovery management. Discuss. That is your assignment. Behavioral diagnostics is critical to effective recovery management. Discuss. I'm going to give a gift to the best presenter of this. Because if you cannot do diagnosis, sorry, you can't manage well as a recovery manager. So who is going to give me the best answer? So any question? This is called diagnosis. So in diagnosis, it's a deliberate creation.
Yeah.
It's not presumption.
Hello, sir.
I handled a similar case this last time. Has its own merit and demerits.
Hello, sir.
The floor is yours, ma'am. Over to you,
I
ma'am.
want to know that when a client comes before you, I know the first thing we do is to
Yes.
take down what he is at present. Why is it that we don't start with his?
Okay. Why is it that we
With
don't start
history.
with what, ma'am?
Behavioral history.
And that's what we're saying here. That you need to delve inside him. Ma, okay. Very, very good question.
Mhm.
If somebody leaves Zaria, which you know too well, to come and meet you in Abuja, the first impression, oh, welcome. Oh, how was the tree? Oh, bring your bag and all that. Whatever he brings, you collect first and take it to
Okay.
one room, sit him
Okay.
down, and then from there you can go back. It's the
Okay.
same way, man. You must meet the person spot on
Okay.
before you now go to the back. Otherwise, it will be abnormal.
I was even thinking that in the
Yes,
process of discussing the history, we might
yes.
actually even overlook the present and the present is critical to our diagnosis. The history will help, but the present is more critical because that's what we are dealing with. So
That's
most
what
of
we're
us,
dealing with. Yes.
so that most of us we need to know why we are not starting with the past, and we
Thank
are
you very
dealing
much.
present.
With the
Thank you, sir.
present. And it's the present they brought to you. So we must
Yes.
salvage the present.
Mm.
The present is magnetizing. The present is seducing, if I may use that. The present is what concerns everybody. So use what you have, what you can see, to invade into what you don't know. Otherwise, you won't be able to do critical engagement.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
And the rule of critical engagement is 3 issues. Interact first. Oh, okay, you have so and so issue and all of that. Oh, you are suffering from so and so. Oh, you are just out of so and so and so. You must start from where you are to where they were, and then where you are taking them. Good question, man.
Thank
Recovery
you, sir.
So the final analysis, please do your assignment. Let's have it. Behavioral diagnosis is critical to effective recovery management. Discuss. So all I want is for you to apply this 10. I'll do this and do that. I will obtain this and that. And Madam Olabisi Oni, recovery manager, where you meet them and start from where they are, in recovery management, you travel the same road with them, together with
Okay.
them. And they
Okay,
take
sir.
you to the past. So it's good as they meet you. The person who came from Zaria to meet you in Abuja says, I'm also going to Lokoja. So you now with him travel the same route. Or before he gets to Lokoja, he says, okay, let me take you back to Zaria, from where he is in your house, you start going back to Zaria story, and then back here, and then you now take him further.
Okay,
So
sir.
let's do the graphical analysis now of diagnosis.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
The state, the current state, to the past, and then to the present, and then to the future. Current, past, present, and then future. Once you handle it like that, you are a recovery manager par excellence. Any other question? We want to close for the day. So tomorrow is another day. And then we are likely to have a session at the rehab center with the NDLEA official. We might still record it. And guess what? whatever we are treating will be part of our course curriculum so that we will not miss anything. So if you can make it physically, I will let you know later in the day. That will be good. You cannot, then we'll still do online. Thank you very
sir.
much and have a lovely. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Doctor.
Bye, sir. Thank you, sir. We appreciate your effort.
Thank you very much.
Bye, everyone.